Hi, welcome to Embody Your Soul Mission. I am your host, Rayania Shayen. Today, I have the pleasure to have my teacher, my friend, and someone I just adore so much, Janet Treloar. So Janet has been an inspiration for me. She has been working in corporate and had her journey of working with spirits, so the spirit release, the channeling, and she was teaching regression therapy for many, many years. So today I have the pleasure to have you here. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you. It's a privilege. It's lovely to be here.
Yeah, so I will just start by asking the question, like, do you feel like through all your experience, where are you right now? Are you on your soul mission, or what is your perception of your journey?
It's an interesting question, isn't it? Because I think the soul mission really comes down to your perspective and your perception of what a soul mission is. I would say I'm more in flow than I am on a soul mission. Now, that could sound a little bit strange to people, especially when this is all about, this galactic retreat is all about being on your purpose, on your soul mission. However, we don't always know exactly what it is. And certainly the work that I've done throughout the years, working with clients, working with people, but also all my work channeling with Zach, shows us how much we are constantly creating our future, and we're doing it through our desires. So it could be that our soul initial desire for a life, or the way we've carved our life or created our life, we might have different desires for that soul mission now. So rather than following it as if you've been given a guidebook to go to a certain place, where actually you've seen a different place that looks actually really, really quite cool over the horizon, rather than saying, well, I've got to go over there, I think we can change it the whole time. And that's more about, to me, it feels far more about flow. It's about listening to our energy, listening to our hearts, listening to what we want, and then putting action behind it. And I think that's the part that a lot of us find really tricky, is putting the action, and when to put the action, when to actually decide I'm making a change, or when we allow something to run its course a little bit further. So thinking about your question, I would say, yes, I probably am on my soul mission, but it might not be what my soul originally planned for me. Because I do feel I'm in flow. And one of the ways I feel I am in flow is when you get these manifestation of these little miracles around you the whole time. And I have that the whole time. It doesn't always mean that you're comfortable, because we're changing. And I know you know yourself that this year for me, I've had a lot of physical difficulties and physical changes. But that doesn't mean that I'm not in flow. It means that I'm changing to actually become the way that I'm wanting to become for the future, I feel.
Yeah.
What do you think? How does flow fit with you for that?
Well, I think that is my question, actually. Like, do we know what we were born to do? Like, is there something written in the star for us to experience? But my recent experience certainly is really just have that, just tuning to what is really calling us within us. I think that there's a desire, or there's an inkling, a feeling, sensation that is so strong, and I cannot know why it's constantly there. So I guess I just follow that feeling, and then just ask, show me, just follow the breadcrumb, as you could say. And I think, how do we know it's the right bits and pieces of the information is to tap into how we are feeling. If we feel expansive, if we feel joy, if we feel good, then it's very likely we are on the right path. So yeah, so actually my question would be, so how has it been for you? Because I know you started as a child that could see the ghost, or spirit in different dimension, and then through your own journey, like, how do you feel? How has that played a part in who you become? I mean, you become who you are today.
I think timing. We're off on a different track now, but timing is all important, because I grew up in the 1970s, which, you know, was a bit of a tricky time in the world in the 80s, but it probably wasn't as impactful as what we've got going on now. There's so much going on now. So where I was going through a lot of personal challenges, personal things that I found very, very fearful. I had a lot of trauma going on, mainly concerning all of these entities, all of these spirits, and not necessarily all lovely, you know, floaty angel spirits, but dense spirits that had a lot of problems and were looking to me because they knew I could hear them, see them, to help them. And moving through all of that, I didn't have the outside world challenges that we all have going on now. So timing, and the soul's timing, I think, is really fascinating. I truly believe, because especially with regression therapy that I trained in and then worked in for many, many years and taught for very many, many years. When we go back, as you know, as you're a regression therapist yourself, we go back and we actually see the truth that lays behind. We know it, we feel it. When I could see that I had chosen all of these that I would call difficulties, but also were deep awakenings and deep knowings about the invisible world, about all these different frequencies, way before I was born. It's interesting now, I can also see, I think, the timing of my birth, that if I was doing that now, maybe I would have completely have gone off the rails. As it was, I did go off the rails. I became quite psychotic through it, because it does happen. You get imbalances. And so there was a lot going on, but there was also mental health challenges. And I went through something that we call spiritual emergency, where your energy system completely and utterly shatters and you're bombarded constantly by everything, every stimulus. And you create great sensitivities within you, physical sensitivities, emotions, all of these types of things. And I got the help that I needed at the time. It took a long time. And it was such a catapult to the journey later on in life, to understanding and also having great compassion and empathy for people who are going through their own almost like inner wars, because I did feel like it was an inner war with myself that was actually happening at that time. So where we're actually at and where we're moving to, I think the timing is often very important for us as well. And so these things, whether they are, as we say, written in the stars, they're written in our soul contracts, we can live them and play them out as much as is appropriate for us at that time. But we have the opportunity, and I think this is what's so magical about our lives, the personality we carve in our life, our connection with our soul, gives us the ability to transcend all of that. So we may have these contracts, we may have these different things, and they're not all bad for certain. And that's a very heavy word, isn't it? Bad, but they're not always uncomfortable. There's a lot of great stuff in there as well, but we can take that and then take that even further. And I think when I look back and how my life progressed, I can see that even though at the time I didn't realizing it, I wasn't, you know, getting A stars. Everything I was doing, there was a lot of falling by the wayside, but somewhere within, I chose to keep going. My own, one of the reasons why when we were speaking earlier about soul missions, I don't necessarily say, yes, this is my soul mission, is I know from those regressions, from things that happened from before I was born, it was a real slim possibility I was going to live past being 30, because I thought what I was going to experience was going to really, you know, I was going to be done by then. I was going to be very happy to go, right, I've finished off that little piece, I'll go back, I'll do something else. But as it turns out, something within me clearly desired to stay. I didn't know that, of course, till after I was 30. What I can see when I look back is a huge amount of near misses where I could have died and I didn't. And so now I joke that I'm making it up as I go along, but that sounds very, but it's actually this whole thing of flow, back to what we were talking about flow and being in flow. And I certainly haven't stopped. It just means that I can follow the things that I'm so passionate about, follow this amazing world that we're in, be part of the things that I desire to be part of. And one of those things was greatly helping, if that's the way of putting it, through all of these different experiences we're having, to empower others to really know about the power within them, to know that they're creating their destiny, to not feel, if you don't know what your soul mission is, that as if you're a waste of space. You know, I talk to some people who do definitely feel, well, if I don't know, then I'm just wasting time. You're probably not at all. You're probably doing something absolutely incredible. You just haven't quantified it or labeled it as a soul mission. And that also sounds singular, doesn't it? A soul mission, one individual, and we're oneness. Something that I know has gone on way past those 30 years. You know, I'm still going 20 years later after that. Something that I know for sure, again, from a life between life experience of remembering the things from before, is that one of my soul groups is something that is labeled raising consciousness. So I can do that. I can be part of that. And I'm sure everybody is part of these wonderful groups. And just by aligning your heart to what you desire, what you're passionate about, maybe you're passionate about animals, maybe you're passionate about, helping children, maybe you're passionate about nature, ecology, sustainability, or just pure kindness and being compassionate with each other, that will bring you even closer to those other soul groups and to be part. And we all know we're stronger together than we are as an individual. So I think that development, and I can see it now, even like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, especially, I couldn't see any of that side. And Zach says the most mystical thing, or the most amazing thing I should say, about being human is the mystery. Is actually what we find really frustrating, because we don't know what definitely is going to happen tomorrow or next year. Yeah. He says that's actually the beauty of it, because if you don't know, everything is possible. Everything is possible because you're creating every minute. And I try and remind myself of that every single day, and remember that every single day I'm creating in my own body, my own cells, my own energy, but also what I put out to the world, just in my thoughts, let alone my actions, is a part of the future as well. Does that sound a little bit preachy? I hope it doesn't.
No, it's so beautiful. I mean, I love what you just shared, and also your own journey, the first 30 years. And I can definitely feel that there's a lot of resonance with a lot of people when they were younger. They went through, a lot of children came in open to energy, so they could see, feel, or sense, but then they had to shut down, or something happened, so they chose to just chose to close off, so to speak. And it's through every bit of this journey is really, I feel like it's when we talk about soul journey, or the purpose of this life, or purpose of the soul, everything we are experiencing as human is part of that definition, right? The human mind would say, okay, tell me one single definition of my soul mission is to rescue animal, for example, and then I'll be fine. But it's not. I feel like it's really part of our each and every moment, all the incidents, events of our being human, and the good, the bad, the ugly, the mysterious, and it's all contributing to our, I think, our growth. And like being here is, everything is part of our purpose. In one definition, I would feel that.
Oh, totally. Zach talks a lot at the moment about our emotional development. Everything that's happening now is coinciding with the fact that we've all had so many lives, And through that, and just naturally through evolution or evolution, as he calls it, that our emotional intelligence now is leading us into these creations. There is a part what you know, but it's not so much what you know, but how you feel, and through your feelings, how you act. And as you say, it's everything that you do. It's that choice every single day, all the many decisions that you make throughout the day, all the many things that you do, how you come upon that. And often the emotional state of being, or should I say always, the emotional state of being you are in will have an impact on the action or choice or the energy you put out in that manner. And so I agree, it's how your soul mission, your soul purpose, your soul is actually completely entwined with how you live your life. I don't know about you, but I've certainly seen, especially the last few years, this falling down of the walls of where you could have an image or a mask and be one thing in one part of your life and another thing in another. I probably noticed it in particular because I spent so many years doing that. My corporate life, there's no way I wanted anyone to know the sort of spiritual life, the being in the closet, the what would anyone think. And in my spiritual world, I really didn't want them to know. Then on Friday and Saturday night, I was out partying and doing whatever. And so you end up wearing these different masks. I was blessed enough that through my own, particularly my regression training, I'd already become a healer. I was a medium, lots and lots of things, spirit release, as you say, earth energies, so much developed me and got me to a point that when I actually did my own regression therapy training and had to be worked on myself, thinking, oh, I'm all right. And a whole lot of stuff comes out that you have to transform, of course, as all of these things always actually do. But in that shift and in that change, I didn't feel back then, I just wanted to be anonymous. I didn't want anyone to see me at all. But I also didn't feel I had to wear so much of an image or a mask. And then we fast forward to the time we're living now. And I feel for a lot of people who haven't had the chance to go through that change, that development, getting used to being seen, but suddenly being seen. You can't sort of say all wonderful things and talk about kindness and not be kind yourself. You can't talk about let's love everybody and then segregate people and wish bad things on certain people. And the process of everything that we've experienced in our global world over the last few years, I think has really, really highlighted this. And so it's a fascinating time for that, for the emotional intelligence to come through, to own and be authentic about who we are. And it's a process. I mean, I sound very therapy-fied saying that, don't I? It's a process, it's a journey. But it is, because you don't get it in one day. The next day will test you again and again and again. And I think you just have to go in to your heart and what you're choosing. And it's almost like the path of least resistance. And that is to be authentic. It becomes so hard to be ingenuine. That's not a word, is it? Ingenuine in the world that we're in, because people will see straight through it, or they'll feel it even if they're not seeing it. And so it's so much quicker, I believe, to just be authentic right from the start. But it's a process.
Oh, the word I hate the most when I was going through the healing inner work. Oh, it's a process, it's a journey.
I tell you the word I hate the most: challenge. It's a challenge for you. I use it the whole time now. I mean, like, I don't want a challenge. I want to be sorted.
Just be there now. Like, yeah, I definitely resonate with that. I feel like, back 10 years ago or 15 years ago, there was much slower time, like more time for us to go through this ingenuine. I also don't know if it's inauthentic.
Maybe we're making up words now as well, not just that.
Like the mask, we could be, one face, one personality at corporate world and one at the spiritual world underneath. But I feel like as this, shift is going on, like 2020, 21, 22, it's almost like whatever you wish to work through will just happen, will just give you feedback so much faster, right? Like you say, I want it to be authentic, and then the next day you try to hide, and then it just feel like there is this emotional reaction is so uncomfortable that it makes you realize, okay, you are not doing what you say you are or what you want. And it's almost like everything is becoming faster in, with the healing, with the intention, or even I would just feel like emotion becomes much more intensified, right? Like used to be, it's okay, just sweep under the rug. And now that feeling of, frustration or whatever, just like boiling up, the anxiety just comes up so much stronger than how it used to be. So it's almost like the energy is really pushing us to become who we authentically are, or who we are like in the soul level.
And it's that old thing, isn't it, about manifestation? I certainly years ago used to think manifestation was manifesting a win on the lottery, or manifesting, physical things that I needed. But actually, the manifestation that happens the quickest is the manifestation within us, isn't it? And it's, my mum used to always say that, be careful what you wish for. And you're not actually wishing for it, it's just your thoughts. You might be being overlooked in a job, for example, and you have a repetitive thought of, I want to be seen. Well, then suddenly the whole world sees you. As you say, something, suddenly everyone's it, and you think, whoa, this is a bit much. It doesn't, to me, the universe doesn't take things lightly. It just does it, I desire this, or I desire to be authentic. Well, then the universe will give you a chance to be really authentic, and whatever that means. And it might actually be quite painful to go through, as you say, but time is ramping up. That in the past, you used to put these things out, write in a journal, check in with it a month later. Has it happened? Now, forget a month, morning to evening. It just happens, doesn't it? It's so quick. I was starting to use words like we're running out of time, and realized my language like, whoa, don't say that, Janet. And I thought, actually, it's not that we're running out of time. It's adapting to the speed of the time that we're living in now. Adapting. I often feel like time is just going too fast for me. And so I have to try and change my thought process, and I'm asking to harness the time, use it to the best of my ability, for it to work for me, for time to be my friend. That's my latest little inner one. Time be my friend. And it has been, actually, it has done some literally miraculous things for me in the last few weeks. And that's since I was thinking that I'm running out of time, and changing it to time is my friend. So our thoughts are so powerful. And yet again, back to emotions, the therapist in me, but our emotions drive our thoughts, and our thoughts drive our emotions. So we can't really think of one without the other. So we have to be careful what the emotion is when we're having these thoughts as well, because it can give it a slightly different feel, can't it? When how we're actually putting out a thought, whether we're in a higher frequency emotion, or we just so happen at that moment to be experiencing a lower frequency. It's almost taking a bit of space to get yourself out of the lower frequency one, and then consciously use that thought to aid whatever manifestation that you want in your life.
Yeah. So I'm curious that what would you suggest people who really wanted to step up to what they want to do, that make them feel fulfilled, that brings them joy, and even though maybe some people don't know what that is.
Yeah. We as humans are very much goal orientated. We've had that from a survival thing, from like earliest humans. We've had to achieve, we've had to get our dinner, whether that's hunting or whether that's going to the supermarket. But we've had this goal driven. And so I think one of the first things we can do to help ourselves is, am I only looking at what I'm going to achieve? Is my heart, is my desire, is my choice of what I'm wanting to come to me also in part about what the end result is going to be. And there's nothing wrong in that. It's just being honest with ourselves. You know, is this a goal that actually the goal of it is to achieve something, whatever it might be, and just for the satisfaction of that? Or am I actually choosing that or wanting that goal because then it will validate me, or people will then see me in a different light, or those people who said I would come to nothing will see I have. And it's not that that's wrong, but recognizing all of those things, you can do it a little bit like a free form writing. I'm not talking so much channeled writing, because unless you're channeling your heart, you know, coming from all the subconscious, coming from a space within you. But I think it's really important that when you're looking at these things, so you don't have a lot of false starts going down different things, look at what you're really wanting, and then also ask for part of your soul mission to aid that part of you. There's nothing wrong with, as an adult who wasn't validated as a child, to need that validation. It's not saying I'm above that. There's a lot of spiritual bypass that can naturally make us feel, oh, I'm more spiritual than that, I shouldn't want that. But actually you're human too. And by honoring those things and gaining validation, maybe it's through something completely different, that alleviates that need in you, and you have space to expand, to actually fulfill what your actual heart's desires are, rather than fulfilling something that is a hurt or a wound of the past. So I'm a big writer. I love writing things down. I'm Miss Analytical. I love a list. So I have to stop it just being a list, but actually turning it into something, you know, a bit of a mind map would be really useful. Have a look at what you want to achieve, what you want to goal, the reasons behind that as well. And then really think about what your passions are now, not what you thought your passions were 5 years, 10 years ago, but actually what they are, and honor it really. And just be really truthful to what you write down, or however you're going to do it, because no one else needs to see it but you. But this then gives, I think of it almost permission. It's the wrong word really for it, but maybe opening the door is a better way for it, for your soul to really talk to you, because you've got away a lot of the things that are maybe shielding you or clouding you from really feeling this soul purpose, because you are not sitting here and your soul's out there and your soul is driving it, and you know, like the driver of a car and you're the car. It's a combined effort, and your personality and what you desire is incredibly important. It's a collaboration. It's like everything in life now, it's a collaboration. So when your soul really understands what you want, it can show you the signs in the world, the places, the things that you may want to get involved with, that will enhance and really propel that mission, that passion, that way of living that you put it so eloquently, you know, that gives you joy, that really does, that is going to make you happy, give you joy, give you a sense of contentment and satisfaction, whilst ideally, you know, doing something good in the world, because just being you in a happy place is doing good for the world, because people will feel that. And I know when I'm around people who are just completely joyous, especially if you've had a bit of a day where you've got a little bit inside yourself, a little bit, all the worries, it's just like the best thing ever. It just feels so lovely. You can bathe in the energy they give off, and frequency tries to match itself. We know this about the universe. It doesn't just repel. If they're too off, then it becomes uncomfortable. But if they're near, the wonderful thing about the universe is it actually wants to pull the lower frequency up to it. And where the energy of the earth, the energy of the universe, human resonance, all sorts of things that people know about, but even emotions, everything, when you can track the frequencies, the lighter and brighter and higher they go, the more expansive and the more chance and opportunity for not only change but for joy as well. So that can't be a bad thing.
Yeah, that is a full wisdom over there, and I resonate with every word you said. Yeah, I especially wanted to mention, yeah, this part of, you know, I think traditionally, or I used to think, the purpose is like hard work. It's like like a goal we have to achieve, and just perseverance and things like that. But I realized actually, whatever soul, purpose, mission, or any word we want to put on it, it's really about fulfillment of who our personality is, right? Like not on the wounded way, but like, connect to that authentic self, like, before it was conditioned, like to experience what that fulfills our, lights up our heart as a being. And I feel it is so intrinsically intertwined, like we don't need to deny any of them, and not personality or not soul is higher or superior or more important, because we are in this human vehicle, and the personality, the human, is equally important, right? So I just love what you share. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, there is a confusion, I think, a lot about ego. And certainly a lot of spiritual teachings for a very long time said, get rid of your ego. And that then got confused a little bit with the personality. And it was this idea that we had to forget or push away who we are, our likes and dislikes, everything else about ourselves, and just embody the soul. And Zach really taught me a lot about that as well, because I was confused by it as well. I was like, well, what part's the ego? He did a whole talk. He did one of his deep dive lectures on it. So I won't go into all of that. But the fascinating part is the ego can sometimes obviously send us off down different paths. And it is an authentic part of us, but it's a driven, almost like an I want part of us. But that doesn't have to be all of our personality. And it's certainly the more that we move through letting go and working on our wounds and our shadow sides and all of this, the easier it is to keep your ego in check, because it doesn't need to come out and try and go, I'm here the whole time. It can just sit back within, and you can have this personality self, which Zach calls, the greatest thing that you are creating in your life. It's this gem. I'm sure he didn't use the word thing. I can't remember what word he used. He's a lot more eloquent than I am. But you are creating this thing. It's like, really not only take responsibility, but love your personality, because you can change it the whole time. You're developing it. There's no one in the world that is like you, and you take with it after you die. Yes, you leave your body behind, you take your consciousness, but your personality goes into this beautiful mix of your soul as well. So he's saying, take a bit of time to develop your personality in the way you want it. And of course, your personality contains the emotions, the thoughts, everything we've been speaking of. So it really does mean that if we honor, as you said, honor our personality, again, it helps us to not only discover, but to actually choose what our soul mission, what our purpose is. And that can change the whole time. It can feel quite heavy, I think, at any age, to think, dum, 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 this is my purpose for the rest of my life. I'm never going to do anything else. Actually, it's exactly as you said. It's so much encompassing every aspect of your life, who you are. And the more you feel confident and comfortable living it, the more confident and comfortable you are in yourself as well.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, I could listen to you talk forever.
You have over the years. You've listened to me from regression days all the way through the channeling days. You've listened to the lot.
I love it. I love you. I really love what you have to bring through. Do you feel it's a good time to introduce our friend Zach?
Yeah, of course. So just to say, if anyone who hasn't, maybe you've never come across me before, as a channel, I'm a trance channel, and I'm also an outer body channel, which is the way most people do it these days is a blending, but this is how I was taught years ago, and this is the most comfortable and compatible way for me, which means I move my consciousness as much as possible, almost completely out of my body. And Zach, our lovely Zach, talking of personalities, he is an Ascended Master, he's Djwhal Kuhl. However, I tend not to channel him as Djwhal Kuhl. He chooses his personality of the most, such a sweetheart, lovely, lovely man. Zacharia of Syria, to give him his full title, but we all just know him as Zach. And in that life, he just loved, loved. Very simple life. He loved the villagers, he loved his animals, he loved nature, he loved the stars, you know, he just loved everything. And so when he imparts his knowledge, his wisdom from 26th dimension, as he says that he again, using the vehicle, if we want to put it that way, of who he was as Zacharia, human, we guys do, we both do. We love to have that laughter, and he often says, you know, the laughter opens us up as well to more, which is wonderful. So yes, it would be me and what my thoughts are, but he can give such a different perspective. Retreat, of course, he is a galactic being. He talks about our cuboid of the universe. I'm sure you'll have an interesting conversation. Shall I not be that, because I can shoulder, I tuned into him before, so he'd be quite through.
Okay, yes, I'll just speak while you take time.
Please do.
Yeah. So as Jenna just described, that she's a trans channel, so that means that the energy consciousness could just come through completely to take over, but in a positive way, to express the information and the energy that wish to flow through her. And Zach, I came across Zach some years ago by accident, and I just fell in love with how loving he is as a friend, as a loving friend, a guide from the future, that he always shares wisdom and that empowers us in this human life, because, you know, being human could be very challenging sometimes. So I'm just looking forward and feeling very excited to have Zach with us here today. And I hope you will enjoy the conversation. Hi, Zach.
Welcome, 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 my dear. Welcome.
Welcome, Zach. Thank you for being with us today.
Pleasure, pleasure. Galactic retreat. This is a very what is word? All-encompassing. Anyone can attend from all of the galaxy. No.
Yes, we are aiming for big support from the galaxies. So Zach, I just want to welcome you here, and I would like to start by asking you the question that Jenna and I also discussed earlier. Like, many people have this idea about soul mission, soul purpose, and could you just explain to us what are they and how different they are?
Mm-hmm. When you are embodying your joy, then your soul is happy, first of all. When you are overcoming adversity that held you back in the past, your soul is happy. When you are learning new things, when you are experiencing new things, your soul is happy. So we often look first to the soul, what the soul mission is. However, it is the way that the person, the personality, as Janet was calling it, the person in the life is actually living their life to how the soul responds. If it is going in circles time and time again with the same problem, the same issue, always falling down at the same spot, so much trickier, so much harder for the soul to live a purposeful, meaningful, mission-led life, of course. Not because it is saying, oh no, I wish you would get on with it. Just simply, it will give you all the tools that you need. Even if you think you do not have the tools, maybe the tools will be putting in touch with a particular person that will help to bring a particular situation to come to light, to allow you to overcome the places where you fell down before. So you see, the more that you become the person that you really desire to be, the more that your soul can be in harmony with you, harmonic resonance with you. And then the passion is combined. The passion for a purpose, a mission, if you will, that is led from the heart rather than from the pain of the past. Does this make sense to you, my dear?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I have a question about, like I often also read and say, become the person who we were born to be. But who is that person we were born to be?
This gets bandied around a lot, does it not? I am guilty of saying it myself. Now, it is true. If you were born with a blank canvas, where would you even start? An artist looking at a canvas with so much to paint, so many options. Therefore, before you are coming into this world, in this lifetime, there are plans that are laid by you, for you, with encouragement from others, other souls that you hold dear to you, to formulate a way of being that you desire in that life to become. Maybe just as an example, you have had many, many lives where you have found that confidence has failed you. Maybe you have found yourself in marriages, in partnerships, in situations which you wish you hadn't because you didn't have the confidence to get yourself out of it. And so therefore, one of the things in the lifetime that you want to work on is to have human confidence. Maybe as a soul, you're very confident. And you think, why can't I do that? And this may be one of 10, 20, 100 different things that you are desiring to do. And this is what we mean about who you are to become. The desire of the soul, imparting the energy into the life force of the baby before it is even born, with the perception that this is the lifetime to be who they were born to be, to become that confident self, to have the situations that allow that confidence to be shown, to know they have that confidence, as I say, with lots of other things. Now, of course, when we say who to be, this is always there for the further reaching idea of the excelling in life. Now, excelling in life does not necessarily mean having a big house, having lots of money, having lots of friends, blah, 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 blah. Excelling is about the way that you overcome, the way that you learn, the way that you apply the experiences. When we talk about learning, we're not necessarily talking about school books and classrooms. We are talking about life learning, the experiences we have for another. Maybe we learn very, very early on that people do not let people into their hearts, that they hold them off at a distance. And part of the becoming is to not only allow people in themselves, but to show others that it is possible to do this. So there is an infinite, really, number of attributes, qualities, experiences that allow you to become who you were born to be. But simply the overriding factor is to become more than you were before. Understand, yes, my dear?
Yeah, I understand that. And how does that tie in with when we say there is some, purpose or project that we wish to create in this lifetime?
Everybody is born with a knowing deep within.
Mm.
They are more than the world around them sees them at. It is a very lucky person who comes in where everybody loves them. Everybody holds them up. Everybody helps them. What does she call them? Janet called them holiday lives.
Yeah.
You know, everything goes well for them.
Yeah.
Most people do not experience this. Whether the challenges come early on or a little bit later on, wherever they come, they will be challenged. They will find that there are walls, they come up again. And therefore, these expressions, let us call them expressions rather than contracts, of that which is intended for the life, where to express, where to be actually utilizing this a beautiful soul that you have within you, your beautiful heart within you, to be able to move through, to create, to have a purpose, to have a mission, as you say, to move past that which is called fate. You know, if human life existed without polarity, without duality, everyone from day one, thousands upon thousands of years ago, worked purely in collaborative force and had no difficult emotions about each other, we would not need any such thing as soul purpose. Everybody would be living in such a harmonious nature that there would not be difficulties. There would not be the good things either in life. Everything would just be the same, the same, the same. But what is the point of coming to earth? For it is a place of duality. It is a place that on occasion can be very polarized. It is a place of deep heart emotions. It is a place where pretty much everybody encounters some level of pain and suffering. Therefore, it is also the place where people can, within themselves, find what they need to transcend. And we are not talking about transcending up into the higher realms, because you do this when you pass over. I am talking about transcending in life, transcending the pain, so that you are not passing on pain to another. To be in a place of harmony within, so that you do not cause disruption to others. To be in a place of love, so that you can give love to others and receive love, of course. Does this make sense to you, my dear?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, so I often hear that that people say we are here, just to experience joy, to be the expression of joy and love. That's the purpose of us being human. And I understand from the therapeutic point of view, it's also here to evolve as a soul. So what is the, how do I say? So what is the relation between this just being in joy, in love, versus something we want to create? Like, for example, some people really have huge heart. They wanted to, save the rainforest, or they want to work with animal, wanted to support people. So is it appropriate to call that as like a soul mission? Do some people have soul mission, or does only, not everybody does?
I would like to go back to the first part of what you said for the question.
Yeah.
Regarding the experience of life is to experience joy. The experience of life is to learn. This is true. The time you are living now, I would like to add a word to this. The real purpose of life is to create. Okay. Now, when we look at the word create and we really, really go into the vibrational qualities of the word create, it is not a state of being. It is not even an emotion. People have created when they are really, really down in the dumps, when they've got their back against the wall, when they are in fear. They have created something that is going to lift them out of this problem. People have also created when they're on a high, when they're in the most ecstatic experience of their life, they create. People create in a yin and a yang way. They may create very, very internally, like quiet little whispers coming to them. Or maybe in a yang way, maybe it is through expression that more creation comes. The reason why I say all of this is because it is not something that you have to wait for creation. You don't have to say, I feel like I'm a creative person, but I will not be creative until I heal this wound within me. I will not be creative until I get out of this partnership that isn't working for me anymore. Creation happens in the moment and is inspired from exactly where you are at, believe it or not. And therefore, just like nature, this is not just about humanity. All sentient life, all consciousness within the planet, the consciousness of the earth, as well as that of nature, the insects, the birds, the bees, the reptiles, blah, 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 blah. All of nature, all of the species, as well as humans. The absolute purpose of life is to create. And we can think of it as a physical creation. A lot of animals, they are creating their lineage, their babies, what is coming next. In human life, we may simply be creating a state of being to help us forward. We may be creating a harmonic way within us. We may be creating health within our bodies. So it does not have to be something material. Don't have to think, well, I'm not much of a craftsperson. I'm not much of an artist. These things come, but it doesn't have to be this way. Maybe you are creating love. Maybe you are a parent, and every day a smile, a kiss, a hug to your child creates feelings of love within them. What could be more than the ultimate creation? Therefore, to create transcends the idea of simply, to be a certain way or to do a certain thing or to achieve a certain thing. To actually create propels not only the earth and humanity on, it propels the galaxies on, the entirety of the universe. At the moment, in this moment in time, much energy is going into the creation of oneness, moving from something that is not understood or simply kept as a philosophy to an actuality. Understand? Yes, my dear?
Yes, I love what you brought through about the creation and the oneness. Can Zach talk a little bit more about the oneness? Because it's the unity consciousness, the oneness.
This is the big thing of the moment.
Yeah.
This is the buzzword. This is what we are striving for, not just yourselves living these lives here on earth, but all other galaxies striving for oneness. Until we have a level of oneness, and that oneness can simply be, I say simply, as if this is a very usual concept, but it can simply be our awareness that we are just as similar, just as connected to something that is thousands of light years away in the stars, as we are to our pet sitting next to us on the chair. That we are as connected with somebody who may be totally different to us on the other side of the planet as we are to the herbs that are growing in our garden. We can take this from a quantum level, breaking down far past the atoms into the energetic state. And in your quadrant, your cuboid even of the universe, there is a pattern, there is a collaboration, there is sacred geometry, if you should call it this, there is a matrix, if you want to call it this, there is a life force, there is continuation that connects absolutely everything, and it is mirrored within every single person's heart. The whole universe is within your heart. Now you think, well, how does that fit? I'm just one little person. How does the universe fit? But when you're talking at the quantum level, when you're talking in energetic coding, this resonates, this responds. You can think of it like the holographic nature, if you will. The fact is, you are the universe. And when you feel that, nothing is actually that far away. Nothing is alien to you. Everything is part of you. However, you can imagine for the majority of people on earth, if a life form totally different, perhaps not even carbon-based like your own, was to be here with completely different communication, you know that most of your planet would look at it in fear. What does it want? What is it after? And therefore, for there to be a unity of mind, a new communication to come, a new way of being in a galactic community, there is a need to move into greater oneness, so that when an experience like that happens, even though we may be amazed, astounded, something brand new, we also know what we are seeing, what we are hearing, what we are feeling in our heart is part of us, and we are part of it. And then suddenly, the natural, if you want to call it that way, the primal is a better way of putting it, idea of fear and moving away and separation moves into collaboration and a desire to communicate, a desire to understand, a desire to form a relationship. Understand, yes?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. I just felt like, so how do we become so conscious and practice to enter this energy field of oneness in our day-to-day life?
Number one, we must want it. Sounds a little bit strange, I know.
Yeah.
If we are choosing to desire to be separate more than to be one, that is the reality we'll still in. That is the reality you have known for much of your life, and certainly for the majority of your linear past lives. And because of this, it is very easy to hold on to not only this belief, but make it a reality. If we say enough, I am different from you, you are not like me, then you will believe it, will you not? We see it around the world, even now, we see it with conflict, with violence. You cannot have conflict with violence against one who you think is exactly the same as you. Division is what causes it. You understand?
Yeah.
But this is not about that. This is regarding how you take the steps. So first of all, you need to desire to be open-minded to a shift in your reality, a shift in the reality that you know. But I can promise you it is a better reality. Isn't it? You know, if you have one friend, that is wonderful. If you have 10 friends, isn't that even more wonderful? It is not diminishing the friendship of the one, but the more that you have. You know what it feels when on a birthday, you know, and lots of people send you good wishes. You feel their love coming at you, can you not? It is one of the things that makes your birthday so special.
Yeah.
So you can imagine if a oneness and a connectedness will allow you to have greater breadth of feeling and love, that is something that we can start to desire to happen. The second thing is communication. In your world, as you know, communication language was developed actually very, very early on. Even if it was not language that was with the mouth, as you know it now, it was more with guttural sounds and movement when the jaw still hadn't fully developed in the way, and the tongue and the palate in the way that the words are formed now. But it was imperative for a connection to be sustained, there must be communication. Your animals communicate with you, maybe in a look, maybe by rubbing up against you, maybe a little thing that they do. So it does not have to be a language as such that you know it as a human. But there is communication, and communication comes through the energetic field. So again, to promote oneness, we can also desire a more elevated communication state of being, which then makes us receptive to other elevated communication coming to us. Understand, yes?
Yeah. So now I have a human mind question. So how is this oneness or unity consciousness connected to our purpose or soul mission, or connect to us right now?
Ah, this is the big question, is it not? So for all of time, up until this point on your earth, as people, early peoples did not have soul missions like you have now. It was far more important for the evolution of the species to come into some level of collaboration between each other and primal forces and so forth. And there was a lot less people, a lot less drama, emotionally speaking. As emotions started to develop, it was necessary for there to be some level of contract or expression beforehand that we have spoken of, for the soul to be able to help guide the person when they really do not know into things that are going to be helpful for them and so forth. Okay. As time and time moved on, this became a lot more elegant, a lot more sophisticated, but also a lot more complex. Now you are moving into a state of being where through your own developments, rather than it being one soul, that does this, has a little break from a life, has another life, lots of lives going on at once. But all of these things, you can imagine every single person having to learn exactly the same lessons, exactly the same experiences, even though they may show up in their lives as very different. This takes a long time, and this takes billions and billions of souls. However, and it's not that that is suddenly going to change, but can you imagine the leap in evolution when what one person or soul learns can be shared not just after a lifetime, but during a lifetime with so many others? Can you imagine if the experience that you are having that is elevating you through your own radiance? So not necessarily with your action, as in a specific action. I've learned this, I tell you this in a communication way, in like a speech, but simply you're living it is so empowered and radiating from your energy that what you have overcome can influence someone else's energy to propel them to overcome something similar in themselves far quicker. Can you imagine how helpful this would be to humanity as well as to the whole planet?
Yeah.
What one species learns, maybe you have a species in the jungle that was close to extinction and it discovered a way to harness. Maybe there are toxins, for example, that they have harnessed how to transmute them and change them into something that was killing them before. And rather than this one specific species, all the species that come into contact with it through its radiating of its light, its knowledge in its light, and because of an inclusion, also get the same idea. Again, not consciously, of course, but in their evolutionary state, rather than waiting generations upon generations for this to happen, very quickly, evolving, learning by what another has, sharing experience rather than going, this is mine, this is not for you. I did a lot of hard work for this experience. You go off and do your own hard work. Again, emotions. But when we are desiring a oneness and we desire to gain and benefit as much from this oneness and communication from others as we are willing to get out to the world, equilibrium, balance, harmony, once again, then kaboom, stars beyond, supernova, explosion within. Understand, yes?
Yeah. So is it my understanding correctly, like right now, actually, for people who are born this time, though, whoever choose to awaken, to go through the inner work, to let go of, evolve from the repeated emotions or patterns or limitation. It is through our way of being, our frequency, that we are creating or fulfilling what we are here to do, or who we are here to be.
Absolutely. And just to quantify this word awakening, because lots of people have lots of different ideas what awakening is. They think it is stepping into a completely different world. They believe it is living a life completely different. I would say awakening is awakening from the belief that you have to follow the patterns and the pains of the past. When you are free of that and you choose any patterns that you wish to follow, and you do choose to break patterns, even in your genes, you are told of, that your genes, there's nothing you can do about it. Epigenetics has broken that completely. But are you willing to receive that information and to say, genetically, I am the master creator within me. I am going to shift and change my genes if I need to a way that is going to accommodate how I am going to be in the future. So the awakened state is not necessarily as people believe, and they put this label of spiritual state of being, of a total understanding of all of these things we've been talking of. They do not need to have any interest in that at all. And awakening is empowerment. It is empowerment to understand truly within the power of the universe is in you. The power of all the dimensions is in you. The power to change in a moment is in you. The power to live the life the way you want to live it, the desire is in you. Yes, there are lots of hurdles, lots of obstacles. We understand. The power does not mean to say that the life around you suddenly changes and you wake up and you do not even recognize yourself. And all the things in your life are suddenly gone, because that would be very discombobulating, very awkward, would it not, if everything suddenly disappeared. But it is the power to know that it is in your power to change anything that is not serving you. And as you gain, if you truly desire and love your life, you love this galaxy, you love to be in this world, you then willingly, through your vibration, share all that you offer with others. Very different from actual action. What you are doing, that is your choice. This does not give away your power, it is sharing your power. And as you radiate, you energetically are giving permission to others to do the same. You understand? Yes, my dear?
Yeah, that feels so powerful. I just feel very full in my heart. Thank you. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, Zach. So I'm aware of the time. So I just want to thank you so much for bringing through this beautiful, empowering words and wisdom. Thank you for guiding us.
It is a pleasure, my dear. And I would just finally say, do not feel overwhelmed with everything we have been speaking of. Do not think, oh my goodness, I have not looked at oneness like that. I've got to really sit down and learn and change. Simply feel.
Yeah.
Feel into the energy. Everybody that is listening, you would not be here if you were not already on your soul purpose, your soul mission, however you quantify that to be. Because it is the desire to be something more.
Yeah.
To be something more than you were before. And that is all that the universe asks of you. That, and to be aware of your potential. Yes, potential, my dear. Good. So pleasure to speak with you. Shall I call her back now, my dear?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Good.
So thank you.
She is
So
coming now, my dear. She is coming.
okay, thank you. So just explain to the who you're listening that because Jenna was completely out of her awareness and now she's back, so she needs time to come back to the light.
Come back to the light. It sounds like you're passing over, doesn't it?
Come back to the human light.
Don't go yet. Come back.
Don't go yet. Come back. Stay with us. Have fun.
I'm back again. Thank you.
Wow, that was super. It was beautiful. It got me very emotional in the end. I was like, oh, so touched.
Here's a lovely way of putting things, I think. Here's a lovely, yeah, he believes in us. You know, he believes in us. He's said so many times he is a big fan of humanity, that even though we might muck up, and he says everything that's going on, that everything we see in the world, everything we see, you know, yes, it was down to humans that created it, whatever we're being told, it is human nature. But he also says, you know, we've got the solutions too. And the universe is always helping us to get the inspiration for those solutions. He is really optimistic. Yes, we're going through the fire at the moment, but fire is transformational. That's the thing. And when it burns away, it's like the phoenix from the ashes, isn't it? And I think he sees the phoenix in all of us when we're just feeling like the shriveled, burnt, going, oh, this is really hard. But he sees the phoenix in all of us. And so I absolutely love the fact that I channel him. He is just such an amazing presence, I believe, in the world. And his absolute faith and love in us, it never wanes, and I love that.
Yeah, so really thank you for being such an amazing vehicle to bring through Zach. I think it's just so, it's a gift for us, so many. Yeah, so so thank you again for being here, sharing your wisdom, your experience, and your gifts. And I wondered, like, do you want to share how people can find you if they would like to hear more of what you have to share and what Zach has to share?
Well, Zach especially, he has his own Patreon page. If you haven't come across Patreon before, I'm sure you'll be putting on a link, won't you, as well? Thank you. So patreon.com, and it's /Zach's Portal, and Zach is spelled Z-A-C, so Z-A-C-S and Portal. And on there, my dear friend and colleague Hazel and I have this, well, this is the platform really for everything that's Zach related, and we choose to give freely every single month Zach chats. They are packed full with really timely information, people putting questions as well for that as well. And so they're completely free. You can go to Patreon anytime. Anything that's got an unlocked in the corner, just scroll down. It is one long list. That's just how the platform is. But there is now, you know, about maybe 3.5 years worth of stuff. There's a lot. And in the full-on lockdowns, we were doing 2 a month of those as well. So there's a huge amount in there. And even though they're timely of the moment, just like we've been talking now, there's information that is useful anytime. We also have a membership site there. I always think it's quite budget friendly. I think it's about £10 a month. And for that, you get these Zach deep dives. His cosmic classrooms. He has talked about some amazing things, very practical, wonderful guidance, but very much about the esoteric wisdom and all sorts of things that are so important to us. And something that I love and is so dear to me are his Zach meditations. I know you love them too. I do them with him, where he actually does this incredible thing of creating a playlist first. I don't know anything about the theme of it, but he works with me, the tracks that he wants, how he's going to do it. And then we always do it in one take with the music playing in the background. People say the production is amazing, which is incredible. It sounds like it's from a studio. I don't really know how. I think that's his jiggery pokery going on, because we have it playing straight in, one take, incredible meditation, whether it's on helping elevate our DNA, this one for this month at the moment is called Rise, and it's rising around and helping us with our emotions, our physical, whatever it might be. But again, there's a meditation every single month. They're quite long, some of them are split in like trilogies, some of them about 45 minutes, but you have the whole month to use it, and people's feedback is incredible. So yes, please come and see us. You don't have to come, remember, you can go and just have a look at the Zach chats, but that is the platform that we choose. I'm not on YouTube, I'm not on any social media at all. I've got an old Facebook page, so please don't be hurt if I don't respond to a friend request, because I'm not on there, just time wise, and I'm just focusing in with Zach, so I'm not on any social media. But Patreon is great, and people write comments. There's a lovely little community going on of all the people that are joining there, and obviously my own website as well, where you can find out about events and different things that are going on and what I do. And there's some stuff there about Zach, and that's planet-therapist.com. and it would be absolutely fabulous if you wanted to just join up my newsletter. It's about the most sparse newsletter ever. It actually is seasonal. It comes out pretty much around the solstices, equinoxes. And of course, if anything is going on, any wonderful events, I let people know in between, but there's certainly no bombardment. But it's a great way that I can let you know of wonderful Zach things coming up.
Yeah.
And any shifts and wonderful changes that might be happening as well. Hazel does also have her own newsletter, but I think you can find that from the Patreon site, just because she emails everyone every single month a Zach love evaluatory letter, I think it's called, with the latest Zach chats and everything that's going on there. And so please, I'm sure it is on Patreon. Have a look on Patreon, and Hazel's on there just to sign up to hers as well. So that's my little spiel. But it would be lovely for anyone who certainly hasn't met Zach before today and would love to just bathe in that energy, because when he comes through, he transmits, as I'm sure you felt, all that wonderful energy. He calls it heart hugs. You know, if you want a bit of a heart hug from our lovely Zach, just go on there and you know, just have your feel and then get back to your day.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing all that. I wanted to say something because I've been on Patreon for, I think, right at the beginning. So it's been 3.5 years. Wow, time goes. I do appreciate a lot Zach's meditation, because it's actually more than meditation. It's really guided meditation. It's soothing, it's comforting. It's like really giving us the resources that we need in order to go through certain challenges or hurdles that we wanted to break through. It supports us to release the old and really opening up to who we are, and very often he facilitates us working with our helper guides and team. So it's really a gem. It's a treasure. I would recommend people, if you feel connected to Zach and resonate with what he has to share, please just feel free to connect with Janet on the Patreon. And it's really such a good value for what you are receiving as a human evolution and the soul elevation. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you for saying all that, because yeah, it's hard to sort of say all the different things it does, but it's so true. He doesn't, you won't often find the word activation in a meditation, not that there's anything wrong with that, but through the transmission, so many people comment that they can really feel he does these things that are more subtle, I think, probably, than calling them activation, as in he works with your energy, each individual energy. How he does it, I don't know, at where you are at, to move through, to release, to let go of whatever it might be that we need at the time. They are just such a balm for the soul. And as I said right at the start, and as I know, I went through a very long, drawn out and severe sort of COVID experience at the end of last year, coming into this year, and my energy was completely rebuilt afterwards, and I'm still learning quite a lot about it and sensitivities and different things. And it's fabulous because I've been, as well as any other help I've received, the meditations, just even tuning into, just having a look at the titles and thinking, oh, I need this one today. And sometimes you don't even have to be actively following it. It will just work. And this is the thing with the the harmonizing with the music he uses in the background, and it can really just be quite amazing what it can do for you. I use them the whole time myself, and it's quite handy being an out-of-body channeler, because when I'm hearing him, it's not like hearing myself, so it's lovely. I get to be like everybody else and just benefit from the meditations after I've channeled them. It's great.
It's wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much. So we will make sure all the information is listed below the interview, and so people just feel free to explore and really just allow, open to receive the help from the universe, the galaxy.
From the galaxy, absolutely. From the cuboid of the universe.
From the cuboid of our universe. Yeah, good. So thank you again, Jenna, for your time. I really enjoyed our conversation so much. So thank you. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And thank you for everybody for watching and listening too. Big love to you all.
Bye, everybody. And thank you for listening, and stay tuned for what is to come tomorrow. And until then, enjoy your human life. Enjoy being a human. Bye for now.